The Endeavour was not a large ship. It was small, cramped, and looked like it had been patched together more than once. Its hull was scratched and dented in places, but inside, it was alive with the hum of machinery, blinking lights, and the soft voices of the crew. For a ship like this, exploration was not about glory. It was about curiosity. Captain Alex Harper sat in the command chair, leaning back slightly. His eyes were fixed on the view screen, where the swirling colors of a nearby nebula danced like liquid fire. "All right, team," he said, his voice calm, even playful. "Let's see if our new jump drive works as advertised." Engineer Lila Chen, fingers flying over her console, frowned. "Captain, our calculations are still off by a fraction of a percent. If we jump now, we could end up anywhere, literally anywhere." Harper grinned. "That's the fun part." The crew laughed, nervously. Commander Rami Torres, a former military pilot with more medals than patience, shook his head. "Fun for you, maybe. For the rest of us, it's terrifying. Last time we tried something like this, we nearly ended up inside a star." Harper ignored him and activated the jump sequence. The hum of the drive grew louder, lights flickering, panels vibrating under their fingers. Lila muttered under her breath, adjusting coordinates. "Okay, if my calculations are correct, then we—" "Oh no. Explain," Harper said casually, resting, his hands behind his head. Lila's eyes widened. "We miscalculated. The jump isn't going where we intended." Before anyone could react, the ship shuddered violently. Stars stretched into long lines, colors flashing wildly. The crew gripped their consoles, holding on as the ship seemed to tear through space itself. And then, everything stopped. They were somewhere else. On the view screen, nothing looked familiar. The stars were arranged differently, and a massive, glowing planet hung nearby, surrounded by hundreds of smaller ships that glinted like metal bees in the sun. Rami cursed under his breath. "Where the hell are we?" Harper leaned forward, eyes scanning the sensor readings. "Well, that's not the nebula." Lila swallowed. "Captain, those aren't their ships. They're enormous." Indeed, hundreds of enormous ships moved in formation around them. Each one was the size of a small moon, armored and bristling with weapons. The Endeavour looked like a toy next to them. The screen blinked with a transmission. A deep, booming voice echoed through the ship. "Identify yourselves. You are in Imperial space. State your allegiance and purpose." Harper raised an eyebrow. "Imperial space, huh? Sounds fancy." He tapped the comms. Hello? We are humans. We come in." Peace?" His tone was casual, even joking. The voice on the other side didn't respond immediately. Then, slowly, a mechanical click sounded. "You are trespassing. This is the territory of the Zephyrian Galactic Empire. Compliance is mandatory." Lila's hands were shaking. "Captain, they sound angry." Harper leaned back in his chair. "Good. I like a challenge." Rami groaned. "You are completely insane." But Harper wasn't scared. Humans rarely were, not in situations like this. Fear was a tool, not a rule. He had faced worse than this, in wars and storms and dying worlds. And humans, well, humans had a strange way of staying calm, even when the odds were impossible. The massive ships began to move toward them, forming a tight ring. The sensors beeped rapidly, showing dozens of energy weapons powering up. The Empire was testing them, seeing how fragile this tiny human ship truly was. Harper studied the fleet. "Okay, team, let's try something new. Let's see if they can actually hit us." Lila's eyes widened. "Captain, that's suicidal." "Or brilliant," he replied with a grin. "Rami, take us into the nebula. Let's see if we can confuse them a little." The Endeavour zipped forward, slipping among the gas clouds. The Empire ships tried to follow, their massive size making them clumsy. Energy beams shot past, tearing holes in the nebula, but none hit the small human vessel. Inside the ship, the crew held their breath, hearts pounding. They knew this was dangerous. But there was also a thrill, the kind only humans could feel when facing the impossible. After a tense few minutes, Harper laughed. See? Nothing to it. Lila pinched the bridge of her nose. You're insane. Rami, still gripping his console, muttered. I'm starting to see why. The Empire's voice came again, sharper this time. Your maneuvers are reckless. You will be destroyed if you do not comply. Harper tilted his head. Destroy us? I mean, look at us. We're tiny. We're slow. You really think this little ship can threaten an empire? There was a pause. Even the Empire, so used to dominance, seemed momentarily unsettled by the humans' casual attitude. No fear, no panic. Just calm confidence. Harper smiled at the crew. Lesson 1. Humans don't flinch. The crew exchanged nervous glances. Lila whispered, I think they just realized we're different. Harper turned back to the view screen. Good. Let them realize it. Now let's figure out how to get out of here, or at least survive long enough to make them like us. Rami shook his head. Survive? Captain? You mean charm the entire Xiphorian Empire with jokes and duct tape? Exactly, Harper said, tapping his console. Let's get started. As the massive Empire fleet closed in, the human ship danced through the nebula with impossible agility. Sensors screamed, lights flashed, alarms blared, but the crew moved with precision and calm. Every maneuver was instinctive, every decision quick and clever, and for the first time the Empire realized that they were dealing with a species that did not fear death, domination, or authority. They were small, fragile, and yet unstoppable in a way the Empire could not understand. The Endeavor slipped past a formation of battleships, weaving through energy beams like a phantom. On the bridge, Harper laughed softly. Okay, team. Step 1. Survive the first impression. Lila shook her head, a mixture of exasperation and admiration in her eyes. I still think we're going to die. Harper's grin widened. Maybe. But if we do, we'll do it the human way. Bold, loud, and without flinching. Outside, the stars shimmered. The Xiphorian Empire loomed large, its warships massive and deadly. But for now, the humans had the advantage of unpredictability. And in the galaxy, unpredictability was a power no empire could fully control. The Endeavor was small, it was fragile, it was alone, but it was human. The Endeavor floated in the heart of the Xiphorian fleet, its small frame dwarfed by the massive warships surrounding it. Sensors continued to flash warnings of proximity, weapon charge levels, and fleet maneuvers. But inside the human ship, the mood was oddly calm. Captain Alex Harper leaned back in his chair, one boot propped on the console. Well, he said, tapping the screen. Looks like they really care about their territory. Lila Chen didn't look amused. Care? They're trying to kill us. That's not care, I don't even have a word for it, Commander Rami Torres muttered. This is insane. We're trapped in the middle of a superpower's fleet and you're treating it like a picnic. Harper smiled. Perspective, Rami. When you've faced things far worse than this, nothing seems that bad. Besides, we humans have a way of handling situations like these. Lila rolled her eyes. You mean running, hiding, and improvising until the enemy is either confused or dead? Something like that, Harper replied casually. The Endeavor's comm system crackled again. The same deep, booming voice from the Empire boomed through the bridge. You will halt your vessel immediately. Prepare to be boarded. Resistance will not be tolerated. Harper leaned forward and tapped a button. Okay, new plan. We're not stopping. Let's introduce ourselves. Politely. He activated the communication system. His voice was calm, steady, with a trace of humor. Hello there. We are humans, from the Sol system. We come in peace. I hope we're not in the wrong neighborhood. The fleet went silent. Lila raised an eyebrow. Did that actually work? Before Harper could answer, the Empire's voice responded, tinged with confusion. You speak without fear. You do not comply. How? Harper shrugged. We're humans. We don't flinch. The Empire ships began to reposition, surrounding the Endeavor more tightly. Sensors detected energy weapons powering up, beams glowing bright. As they aimed at the small ship, Rami muttered under his breath, "Yeah, we're toast." Harper ignored him. "Not toast yet. Lila, start random maneuvers. Rami, power the shields. Let's show them how humans dance." Lila hesitated, then tapped a series of commands. The Endeavor lurched forward, weaving between the nebula clouds, leaving streaks of ionized gas in its wake. Energy beams streaked past, narrowly missing the ship, lighting up the nebula in brilliant flashes. Rami's hands moved with precision, boosting shield strength and rerouting power. "I can't believe this is working," he said through gritted teeth. Harper laughed softly. "That's human ingenuity, my friend. Quick thinking, bold moves, and a little luck." The fleet commander, a tall alien with iridescent skin and multiple limbs, watched from the command bridge of his flagship. His eyes narrowed as he studied the human's tiny ship darting through the nebula. "Insolent creatures," he hissed. "They are mocking us." A junior officer spoke up nervously. "Commander, they are fragile. One strike—" "Silence," the commander snapped. "Their boldness is unnerving. They should fear us, but they do not. Observe their behavior closely." Meanwhile, on the Endeavor, Harper had spotted something interesting on the sensors. "Look at this," he said, pointing to a grid of energy fields. "Their targeting systems are designed to track predictable patterns. But we're unpredictable. That's why they're missing." Lila looked amazed. "You're saying we're confusing them without even trying?" Harper grinned. "Exactly. Humans are chaotic by nature. In a galaxy of rules and obedience, chaos is our advantage." The human crew continued their maneuvers, dodging beams and weaving through the fleet with almost artistic precision. The Empire's warships were massive, powerful, and heavily armed. But they were built for order, not improvisation. The humans were too small, too fast, and too unpredictable. Minutes passed, stretching into an hour. The humans were exhausted but still in control. Sensors picked up a communication from one of the Empire's smaller vessels. "Captain Harper, we request parley. We need to understand what you are." Harper leaned back, rubbing his chin thoughtfully. "Parley, huh? That's fancy talk for come talk before we blow you up." Lila groaned. "You're actually going to meet them?" "Of course," Harper said. "Step 1, survive. Step 2, charm them. Step 3, don't get blown up." The Endeavor approached. The designated meeting coordinates, a massive platform orbiting the glowing planet below. The Empire had opened a docking corridor, though it looked more like a trap than a welcome. As they entered, Harper kept his hands visible on the controls, projecting calm confidence. "Remember, team, they are used to fear. Humans, we have something better. Confidence." The docking bay doors opened slowly. The Endeavor floated inside, dwarfed by the enormous hall. Alien officers watched from balconies above, weapons trained on the humans. A bridge officer from the Empire spoke, his voice echoing through the massive hall. "Step forward, humans. Identify yourselves and state your purpose." Harper stepped out of the cockpit, hands raised slightly, smiling. "Greetings. I'm Captain Alex Harper. These are my crew, Lila Chen, Rami Torres, and the rest of our team. We were exploring the galaxy when, well, we sort of took a wrong turn and ended up here." The aliens exchanged glances, whispering in their strange language. The humans' casual demeanor was baffling. They should be quaking in fear. Instead, they were relaxed, curious, and oddly charming. The Empire officer continued, "You are trespassing in the territory of the Xiphorian Galactic Empire. Protocol dictates immediate arrest and interrogation." Harper tilted his head, smiling. "Arrest us? We're not criminals, we're just tourists in a very big galaxy." Lila muttered. Tourists. Yeah, right. The officer's many eyes narrowed. You do not understand the power of this empire. You are insignificant, Rami whispered to Harper. He's going to order the fleet to destroy us. I can feel it. Harper shook his head. Not yet. Watch. He turned to the officer. You know, humans have this saying. Small things can make a big difference. And sometimes, small ships can do things big ships can't. The officer froze. Explain. Harper gestured to the crew. Our ship is small. We can move fast, think fast, and react in ways your fleet can't predict. That's why we survived the jump, why we're here, and why none of your weapons have touched us yet. Lila stifled a laugh. He's basically telling them off. And they're listening, Harper said quietly. Humans are lucky that way. Confidence and competence go a long way. The officer studied them, clearly unsure how to proceed. Your behavior is unusual. The Empire has never encountered a species that does not fear our power. Rami leaned over to Lila. I think we just broke them. Harper nodded. Exactly. And now we survive the first encounter. Step 1 complete. The Empire officer finally spoke. We will allow you to remain, temporarily, but you will answer questions. You will follow rules. Failure to comply? Harper interrupted, smiling. Understood. We humans follow rules, most of the time. But we also think for ourselves. The officer blinked, clearly unsettled. You are unlike any species we have encountered. Proceed with caution. Harper turned to his crew. Congratulations, team, first contact. Survived, and we didn't even flinch. Lila smiled despite herself. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I think we actually impressed them. Rami shook his head, still in disbelief. Impressed? We're the most reckless, chaotic species in this sector, and somehow, it worked. Harper grinned. That's humans for you. Small, fragile, unpredictable, and impossible to intimidate. Now let's see what else this empire has to offer. Outside the docking bay, the massive warships watched silently. Inside, the humans walked through the corridors with steady steps and curious eyes. The Empire expected fear. The Empire expected submission. What they got was something entirely different. Audacious, clever, and utterly human. The docking bay doors closed behind the Endeavor, and the humans stepped onto the gleaming platform. It was massive, so large that it seemed to stretch endlessly in every direction. Alien figures moved with precision, walking past the crew, many glancing curiously at the humans before returning to their tasks. The air hummed with energy and the faint scent of ozone from the ship's weapons and power cores. Captain Alex Harper took a deep breath and glanced around. Welcome to the heart of the Xiphorian Empire, he said with a grin. Try not to break anything. Lila Chen muttered. I think breaking things is exactly what we're about to do. Commander Rami Torres, arms folded, looked at the towering architecture. This place, it's like a fortress. Every wall, every floor designed to intimidate. And yet, somehow, it feels almost lifeless. Harper nodded. That's the Empire for you. Power over people, fear over freedom. But we humans, well, we're a little different. We like life, chaos, and figuring things out. The humans were escorted by a group of Xiphorian officers to a central hub, where alien bureaucrats worked at glowing consoles and communicated through holograms. The technology was advanced, far beyond what humans had ever seen, yet strangely rigid. Every movement, every command was controlled by layers of protocol. One officer, tall with translucent skin and multiple eyes, looked down at Harper. You will answer questions. You will comply with all requests. Deviation is not permitted. Harper smiled. Of course. We humans love rules. We just interpret them creatively. Lila whispered. He's going to get us killed. Or admired. Harper replied with a wink. Their first challenge came almost immediately. An AI system responsible for regulating the hub's energy grids began to malfunction, causing lights to flicker and holograms to glitch. The alien officers panicked, unsure how to fix it. Harper stepped forward, crouching over the console. "Let me try something," he said softly, his fingers dancing over the controls. Within moments, he had rerouted power, recalibrated the system, and restored order. The aliens stared wide-eyed. One whispered, How did he do that?" "Humans improvise," Harper said simply, standing tall. "We fix problems, even ones we don't fully understand. That's what we do." Lila shook her head in disbelief. "You just solved their biggest technical crisis in 5 minutes," Rami muttered. "I don't even understand half of what he did, and I was in the military." The aliens' confusion was evident. In a society where obedience and protocol ruled every action, improvisation was almost seen as dangerous. Yet here were humans, small, fragile, and completely unafraid, solving problems that their most advanced systems could not. The crew was then escorted to a grand hall, where they were formally introduced to a group of senior officials. The room was massive, with walls made of shimmering metal and floors that reflected the soft glow of alien lights. Holographic displays floated above their heads, showing star systems, fleets, and strategic plans. One senior officer, with 4 arms and eyes that glowed faintly, spoke. "You are humans, you are insignificant, yet you survive where others would perish. Explain this behavior." Harper leaned on his chair, casually folding his arms. "We humans have a saying, adapt and survive. We don't panic. We don't flinch. We find a way no matter how impossible it seems." The officer tilted his head. "Survival is not enough. You must obey." Harper smiled. "Obedience is fine, as long as it doesn't stop us from thinking, learning, and helping." The aliens exchanged nervous glances. They had never encountered beings who combined calm confidence with intelligence, creativity, and moral courage. Humans were unpredictable. That unpredictability made them dangerous and fascinating. Their next test came when they were asked to navigate the Empire's complex bureaucracy. The aliens had thousands of rules, procedures, and authorizations for even the smallest action. Humans, unfamiliar with the protocols, were expected to fail, but humans had a unique strength: intuition. Harper guided his crew through the corridors, asking questions, observing patterns, and using logic to solve problems. Lila hacked into minor systems to streamline their paperwork, while Rami negotiated with guards using humor and charm. In each case, humans succeeded. The bureaucrats watched in disbelief. The humans didn't just follow rules, they understood the system and worked within it creatively. What was supposed to take weeks took hours, and what was supposed to be impossible became routine. At one point, an alien official attempted to intimidate the crew with threats of punishment. Harper raised a hand calmly. "Threats are fine, but humans value cooperation over fear. If you want compliance, give us a reason, not intimidation." "That's how we work." The official blinked, clearly unsettled. "Your methods are strange." "Maybe," Harper said with a grin. "But they work." Later, while exploring the capital world's streets, the humans saw the Empire's citizens, aliens of every shape, size, and color, moving with caution, avoiding mistakes and adhering strictly to rules. Their lives were orderly but stifling. Humans moved among them, curious, asking questions, and sometimes laughing. They drew attention but not fear. People noticed them, some with awe, others with confusion. Lila whispered, "They must think we're crazy." Harper shook his head. "No. They're realizing something bigger. Humans aren't afraid of their system. We question it, learn from it, and find ways to make it better. That's why they can't predict us. And unpredictability, that's power." The crew also encountered the Empire's military training grounds, where soldiers practiced drills and combat maneuvers with precision and discipline. Harper decided to observe. He watched the aliens train, noting their strengths and weaknesses. Humans could never be trained like this. he said. We don't move in rigid formations, but we adapt to any situation. We fight differently, think differently, and that makes us strong. Lila laughed softly. You're always looking for lessons. Always, Harper said, especially when the lesson is about us. As the day drew to a close, the humans were escorted to a secure resting area. Even here, their thoughts raced. The Empire was vast, organized, and intimidating. But the humans weren't scared. They were curious, excited, and ready for the next challenge. Rami sat on his cot, shaking his head. I still can't believe we made it this far. Every rule says we should be dead or captured by now. Harper smiled. Humans don't always follow the rules, but we survive and we thrive. That's the difference. Lila added quietly. And yet, I think we've made an impression. They're watching us, talking about us, quietly behind closed doors. Harper nodded. Exactly. Humans are not just survivors. We're unpredictable, clever, bold, and in a galaxy ruled by fear and protocol, that makes us extraordinary. That night, as the humans looked out over the city from their secure quarters, they saw the Empire alive with lights, movement, and power. It was a vast, impressive, and intimidating place. And yet, from this height, Harper felt something exhilarating. Humans were here, unafraid and already making their mark. He turned to his crew. Tomorrow we learn more, we explore more, and we continue being ourselves. Humans are small, fragile, and yet we are unstoppable when we don't flinch. Lila smiled softly. You make it sound so easy. Harper chuckled. It's not easy, but it's human. And so the humans slept, quietly, calmly, and confidently. They were deep in the heart of a galactic empire, surrounded by beings far larger, stronger, and more powerful than themselves. Yet the humans were unafraid. They had survived the first trials, demonstrated their ingenuity, and begun to earn a measure of respect from even the most rigid of the Empire's citizens. The heart of the Empire was vast and intimidating, but humans were something the Empire had never seen before. The morning sun, or at least the alien equivalent of one, shone across the gleaming towers of the Empire's capital. The humans had been given a simple, yet terrifying notice. Today, they would face the Empire's tests. Every species that entered the Empire's heart had to prove its worth. Failure meant exile, or worse. Captain Alex Harper stood at the edge of the training grounds, watching rows of alien soldiers go through their drills. Their movements were precise, mechanical, and perfectly synchronized. The humans were expected to follow orders, obey, and demonstrate their competence. But Harper had other plans. Remember, team, he said, his voice calm and steady. We're not here to play by their rules. We're here to show what humans can do. Step 1, stay calm. Step 2, think. Step 3, surprise them. Lila Chen adjusted her console straps nervously. Surprise them? Captain, you do realize these aliens can probably crush us with one hand, right? Harper grinned. Then let's make sure they never get the chance. The first test was a simulation, exercise. A holographic battlefield filled the training room. Alien strategists had programmed scenarios where humans would face overwhelming odds, enemy fleets, environmental hazards, and resource shortages. The simulation was designed to break them. Rami Torres, folding his arms, muttered, I've trained for real battles and this looks worse. Harper leaned over the console, studying the projections. Then let's show them the human way. The humans analyzed the scenario, not panicking as most would. Harper spotted weaknesses in the simulation, choke points, blind spots, and predictable enemy patterns. Lila calculated optimal paths while Rami coordinated movements as if commanding a real fleet. Instead of attacking head-on, the humans used distraction, improvisation, and misdirection. Small unexpected maneuvers disrupted the enemy forces, and by the end, the simulation projected a complete human victory. The alien instructors stared in disbelief. Impossible, one exclaimed. No being could have anticipated all variables. Harper shrugged. Humans do, we improvise, we adapt, and we think fast under pressure, Lila whispered. I think we just broke their simulation. The next test was physical. Humans were asked to navigate an obstacle course designed for species stronger, faster, and more agile than them. Spinning platforms, energy barriers, and traps awaited. Most species would fail instantly. But humans had one advantage: creativity. Harper studied the course, noting patterns. Sometimes, he said, you don't have to be faster or stronger. You just have to think differently. Using teamwork, makeshift tools, and careful timing, the humans moved through the course. They dodged barriers, swung across gaps, and even managed to reach areas the Empire didn't expect them to reach. Lila hacked miner systems to create temporary openings in the barriers, while Rami provided cover and guidance. By the time they finished, the alien trainers were stunned. Their success is illogical. They should be incapable of this. Harper nodded, satisfied. Logic doesn't always apply to humans. We rely on ingenuity. Finally, the humans faced the diplomatic test. They were placed in a simulated crisis. Two alien factions were on the brink of war, and the humans were asked to negotiate a solution. The Empire expected them to fail, expecting fear, confusion, or rash decisions. Harper listened to both sides carefully, taking notes and asking questions. Lila observed underlying tensions and historical grievances. Rami provided insight into motivations and likely outcomes. Instead of taking sides or using threats, Harper proposed a compromise, shared resources, mutual agreements, and a plan that allowed both factions to claim victory without fighting. His logic was simple, humane, and clear. The aliens watching were silent. The two factions accepted the proposal without hesitation. Harper's calm reasoning had prevented a war in a scenario designed to force conflict. The Empire officials were baffled. No being could have solved this without coercion or intimidation, one whispered. Harper smiled faintly. Humans solve problems by understanding them, not by scaring them. The day ended with the humans standing before a panel of senior Empire leaders. Their performance was unprecedented. They had passed every test not by brute strength, not by following rules, but by being clever, adaptable, and unafraid. One senior officer, with glowing eyes and multiple limbs, spoke. You are extraordinary. No species has ever approached our trials in this manner. You do not fear. You do not obey blindly. You think. You adapt. You survive. Harper inclined his head respectfully. That's humans. We're not perfect. But we don't flinch, and we don't give up. Another officer asked cautiously, Do you realize what you have done? You have challenged everything we know about power and control. Lila added softly, We didn't try to challenge you. We just acted like humans. The Empire was shaken. For centuries, it had relied on fear, technology, and overwhelming force. But humans had proven something different. Courage, creativity, and moral judgment could rival technological supremacy. That evening, the humans were given quarters near the Empire's training grounds. As they settled in, they discussed the day's events. Rami shook his head. I can't believe it. We survived simulations, obstacle courses, and negotiations. And we didn't even break a sweat. Well, except Lila's sweat over her console. Lila rolled her eyes. I'll admit it was impressive, but they're not done with us yet. Something tells me they're thinking of the next test. Harper leaned back, looking out the window at the glowing city below. Let them plan. Humans are ready. We adapt, we improvise, and we think fast. That's what makes us strong. That's what makes us human. He turned to the crew, a grin spreading across his face. And tomorrow now we take the next step. Whatever the Empire throws at us, we'll handle it. Calmly, cleverly, and without flinching. Rami shook his head, muttering, I'm not sure the galaxy is ready for humans. Harper chuckled. Neither are they. But that's what makes it fun. The humans slept that night with the knowledge that they had survived, impressed, and perhaps even unnerve the Empire. In a world of power, fear, and rules, they had demonstrated something the galaxy rarely saw. A species small in size but immense in courage, wit, and determination. The humans were escorted through corridors of shimmering metal and glowing panels, deeper into the heart of the Xiphorian Empire than they had ever been before. Every step echoed through the massive halls, a reminder of how small and fragile their bodies were in comparison to the towering alien structures. But Captain Alex Harper walked with calm confidence, his head held high, his eyes scanning every detail. "This is it, team," he said quietly to his crew. "The Emperor. Whatever happens, we stay human, calm, clever, and unafraid." Lila Chen adjusted her uniform nervously. Stay human. Easier said than done. I mean, we're walking into the presence of the ruler of a galactic empire. They probably have fleets ready to obliterate us if we slip up. Harper grinned. Exactly. Let's not slip up. Commander Rami Torres, usually skeptical, simply nodded. We've survived simulations, obstacle courses, diplomacy trials, and dozens of alien officials trying to intimidate us. How much worse can this be? Harper chuckled softly. You'd be surprised. The humans entered a grand audience chamber. The ceiling was impossibly high, filled with shimmering light that reflected off the polished floors. Holographic images of star systems, fleets, and alien history rotated slowly above them. At the far end of the chamber sat the Emperor, a figure that seemed both massive and impossibly ancient. Multiple limbs, luminous eyes, and a presence that radiated power filled the room. The humans paused, taking in the Emperor's presence, but none showed fear. Harper stepped forward confidently. Your Majesty, he began, bowing respectfully but without hesitation. I am Captain Alex Harper, and these are my crew. We are humans from the Sol system. We did not mean to enter your empire, but here we are, and we hope to learn, to explore, and to share knowledge peacefully. The Emperor studied them silently, multiple eyes scanning every detail. The air in the chamber seemed to vibrate with tension. Finally, the Emperor spoke, voice deep and resonant. You are the humans. I have been informed of your unusual behavior, your audacity, your survival, your ability to navigate our trials without fear. Harper nodded. That's us. Humans don't flinch. We face problems, not threats. We solve problems by thinking, improvising, and staying calm under pressure. The Emperor's gaze shifted, as if considering the implications of such a statement. Your species is unpredictable, dangerous in ways we cannot measure. Yet, you do not seek conquest or power. You do not intimidate. You merely exist. Boldly and without fear, Lila whispered under her breath. Boldly and without fear. That's one way to put it. Harper's smile widened. Exactly. That's humans. The Emperor leaned forward slightly, multiple arms moving gracefully, as if weighing a decision. I have seen many species. I have ruled many empires. But never have I seen beings like you. Small, fragile, yet extraordinary in your courage and intellect. Tell me, why do you not fear us? Harper paused, considering his words carefully. We respect strength, power, and knowledge, but fear is useless. It doesn't solve problems. Humans solve problems. We face challenges with our minds, our creativity, and our cooperation. That's how we survive. That's how we thrive. The Emperor was silent for a long moment. Then, almost imperceptibly, he inclined his head. Perhaps I have underestimated your species, Rami muttered to Lila. Underestimated? I think he's terrified. Lila chuckled softly. Maybe, but don't tell Harper. He'll take it as a compliment. Harper turned to the Emperor, respectful yet unwavering. We do not seek to challenge your empire, but we do hope to show that strength comes in many forms. Courage, ingenuity, and resilience are just as powerful as fleets, weapons, and fear. The Emperor's eyes glowed faintly, a sign of deep contemplation. Your actions have caused discussion among my council. Many fear your influence. Others are intrigued. Perhaps there is value in understanding your ways. Harper nodded. We humans believe in learning and sharing knowledge. We think there is strength in cooperation, in understanding and in treating others with respect. The Emperor paused, then spoke in a tone that resonated across the chamber. You have survived, proven your worth, and demonstrated a form of power that I have rarely seen. I offer you a choice. You may leave, returning to your home system, or you may remain as guests and advisors to teach, learn, and observe. Harper glanced at his crew. Lila's eyes sparkled with curiosity, and Rami looked like he might faint from disbelief. Advisors, Harper whispered to himself, grinning. Humans, advisors to the Emperor. Never thought I'd see the day. Harper stepped forward, addressing the Emperor directly. Your Majesty, we are honored, but our home is far away. We will take what we can learn here, share it with our people, and perhaps one day return. But while we are here, we will cooperate fully and continue to act as humans always do, curiously, boldly, and without fear. The Emperor's gaze softened, a subtle acknowledgement of the human spirit. Very well. You may remain temporarily. Your actions have been remarkable. The Empire will watch and perhaps learn from you. Harper smiled, feeling the weight of the moment. Thank you, Your Majesty. We humans are small, but we make up for it in courage and creativity. We hope to show your empire what humans are capable of, not through intimidation or conquest, but through action, thought, and heart. The Emperor inclined his head, a silent acknowledgement of the truth in Harper's words. Around the chamber, council members whispered among themselves, some fearful, some curious, all unsettled by the humans' presence. After the audience, the humans were escorted to quarters with a view of the Empire's capital. The sprawling city alive with activity, ships moving in formation, and citizens going about their day with precision and discipline. Harper leaned out the window, gazing at the city. Look at that, he said softly. They're powerful, organized, and disciplined, but they forget something important. They don't know how to improvise, how to face fear without flinching, or how to see opportunity where others see obstacles. Lila smiled. And that's why humans are humans. Rami shook his head in disbelief. I can't believe we actually did it. We met the Emperor and we impressed him. Harper chuckled. Not impressed, intrigued. Humans are strange creatures. That's why we survive. That's why we thrive. That evening, as the humans dined in a hall filled with alien delicacies and exotic foods, they discussed the day's events. We've changed something today, Harper said quietly. Not the Empire entirely, not yet, but we've made them rethink assumptions. They've seen what humans are capable of, and that will ripple through their ranks. Lila nodded. Do you really think humans can change an empire? Harper smiled. Not directly, but humans inspire, they challenge, they adapt. One small crew, acting boldly, can make a difference. That's what we've done. That's what we always do. Rami raised his cup. To humans, small, fragile, and impossible to intimidate. Harper clinked his cup with Rami's. To humans. Outside, the stars shimmered, fleets gliding through the void, the Empire alive with order and power. Inside, a tiny human crew had walked fearlessly into the Emperor's presence and emerged respected, not through force, but through courage, ingenuity, and confidence. And in the heart of the Xiphorian Empire, a simple truth spread quietly. Humans were unlike any species seen before. Small, fragile, audacious, clever, and unafraid. The humans had survived the impossible, impressed a galactic ruler, and proven that true power did not always come from weapons or size. Sometimes it came from spirit, creativity, and the refusal to flinch. Harper looked at his crew one last time that night. We did it, team. We survived the Empire, and we didn't even flinch. Lila smiled, shaking her head. I still can't believe it. Rami laughed softly. Neither can they.